25 wins, 1 loss. 13 fight winning streak, 2 title defenses, both of which have come against another pound for pound great. Islam Makhachev is here. He is him as he knocks out. Yes, you heard me right. It's not a typo on the script. It's not me speaking incorrectly. He knocked out Alexander Volkanovski in round number 1 of the UFC 294 main event with a high kick straight to the dome, knocked Volkanovski down, finished him with the ground and pound strikes, and is still the reigning, defending, undisputed lightweight champion of the world. 31 years old, in the middle of his prime, and it showed on Saturday night. I mean, really, what more can be said here? We get 3 minutes and 6 seconds worth of action, a really kind of feeling out round, if you will, for the 3 minutes that we got. These two are just kind of getting in the zone again, much like that first fight that they had back in February. You just had a feeling we were in for another very interesting competitive bout. And then bam, the left high kick out of nowhere. Islam Makhachev, known for the grappling and being from Dagestan, Russia, the protege of Habib and all of the amazing training partners at American Kickboxing Academy, and he knocks out Volk on the feet. It shows just how well-rounded Islam is. I remember long ago, I can't remember which fight specifically, but when Noah and I were recapping one of Islam's fights, I believe I said something along the lines of, in terms of all-round skills, the well-rounded game, Islam has Habib beat because he is a much better striker. His physique is just a little bit more made to strike and compete with guys, and then he still has that Habib level grappling to fall back on. It's just such a dangerous combination to have, but it is an arsenal of skills that you need to have success in the UFC, to have success in the lightweight division, to have success as a defending champion. And now we've seen it all. 13 straight wins, as I alluded to off the top here. Who can stop Islam Makhachev at lightweight? Genuinely asking, tell me your answers, because I don't know who. He's already beaten Charles Oliveira, who he was originally scheduled to fight at UFC 294. He's beaten a featherweight great, if not the greatest featherweight of all time, Alexander Volkanovski, twice, once over the course of 25 minutes and once by finish. I mean, my goodness. I know the resume, if you will, to get to that title shot for Islam was a little bit weird, a little bit weaker than some others that have had to make their way to a title shot. But the guy has just dealt with the cards that were given to him, and he has made light work of so many great challengers, of the Drew Dobers, Thiago Moises, Dan Hooker, Bobby Green, Oliveira, now Volk. He made easy work of Alexander Volkanovski. Volkanovski hadn't been finished. I mean, this was only his third ever loss. One of them is to Islam by decision earlier this year. And then his first loss of his entire career was like over a decade ago, and that one was by finish, supposedly. We had never, in the UFC, and Volkanovski has the same amount of UFC fights as Islam, which is now 15, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, they were both 13-1 in the UFC coming in. In 15 UFC fights, we had never seen Volk even remotely close to being finished, to being wobbly-legged, spaghetti-legged, if you will, out on his feet. Nothing. And Islam Makhachev did that. This was an outstanding performance, and as outstanding of a win as you're going to have right now in terms of not only the lightweight division, but a high-level victory in mixed martial arts in the entire sport, beating Volkanovski, obviously now twice, but once by finish, is such an emphatic way to build a legacy, because that is what Islam is doing right in front of our eyes. He got to that title shot, won that title, and is just building and building and building, and he's not stopping. He's literally getting so much better fight by fight, and that's what's been the beauty of watching Volkanovski in his greatness, was he was getting better and better fight by fight. The fight IQ was improving, the strategies were improving, and now we're getting to see that at 155 with Islam Makhachev. I don't know if there's anybody at lightweight that can beat him. I truthfully don't. I know it's unfair to say this, but you look at Gaethje and Poirier, they both had their chance at Khabib and fell short and both got finished. Well, who's to say it's going to be any different against Islam, who is essentially Khabib 2.0, but better in the striking? Like, and then you go down like Beneil, if he ever gets there, I don't know if he can beat Islam. Chandler, I don't see beating Islam. Gamrot, who is the backup fighter and in Abu Dhabi to weigh in for this card, I don't think beats Islam. There's literally only one fight that I'm most excited for in terms of who Islam can fight at 155, and it's Arman Tsarukyan. Arman's fighting Beneil in December. We talked about that on Friday's recap. It's going to be in Austin, Texas as a co-main event. Should Arman win there, he's probably going to get himself pretty darn close to a title opportunity. Dana said in the post-fight that it seems Charles seems all but clear and obvious to make for the next title challenger, and I completely understand that, and I agree. He was booked here. He gets cut in training and sparring, can't make the fight. Probably rebook that, and I understand. Islam has made it clear he wants to fight the winner of Colby and Leon, which is happening in December. Dana also pointed out to where maybe it's not time just yet. If he defends for another year at 155, we can have that conversation. But money talks. We'll kind of see what goes on. That's a December conversation, though. We got to see how Leon and Colby plays out for sure. But the future is so bright for Islam. Until he fights Arman, I'm confident he beats everyone else that could be put in front of him before then, which at most is what, like 2 guys, assuming Arman can beat Beneil. So they're inevitably going to have to fight again, and it's a rematch that I'm very excited for when it does come. But until then, I don't think any of these people at 155 get close to beating Islam. And even at 170, I would not rule out Islam to beat a Colby or a Leon. It would be such a massive opportunity and massive fight. And that would finally be a way for Islam to detach from the Khabib protege, right? I mean, I feel like he's done that. He's made his own. You know, he has his own path, and we're clearly seeing it now. But he can do something Khabib didn't do, capturing a second title, 2-weight world champion. Then he can really solidify himself in Islam Makhachev's legacy, Islam Makhachev's career. And that's what I'm excited for next with Islam Makhachev. Beautiful performance, beautiful victory. And quickly to the losing side here in Volkanovski, man, look, you came in on 11, 12 days notice, nothing to lose, everything to gain. He's still the featherweight champion of the world. He's still a top 3 pound for pound fighter in the world. And he wants to turn around in January, assuming all of his cuts and things heal from the finish here, and defend the 145-pound belt at UFC 297 in Toronto against Ilia Topuria. Come on, man. Like, how many champions are you getting that will lose like this, get knocked out October 21st, and want to turn around in 3 months to fight a dangerous, ultra dangerous, rising stud prospect in Ilia Topuria? No one. The list is short, and it's one name, and it's Alexander Volkanovski. So my hat's off to the guy. If anybody's out there thinking that he's washed or this is the start of a downfall, I'd pump the brakes there. This is, if anything, is just showing how great Islam is, and 12 days notice. Like, come on. You cannot make this narrative right now for Volkanovski. I will just say part of that stat, though, shout out to Aaron Bronstetter. I'm going to try to remember it better than how I did on Friday for Noah's stats. But people that are 35 and older, challenging or defending a title or whatever the case, 1-31 or something like that at 170 pounds and lower. So, it just goes to show once you hit 35 at these lower weight classes, it is a very tall task, a very uphill battle to capture gold against the younger, generation of the sport, if you will. So a great main event, a huge main event. It felt big going in. It feels huge coming out in terms of everything we got to see. And I'm excited for what's next for Islam. I really am, because I think he can keep building upon this. Like I said, right now in his prime, when it's all said and done, he could be one of the greatest that we've ever seen in this sport, assuming he keeps continuing to gain momentum, continue to polish his skill set. So let me know what you guys want to see next. Do you want to see the Oliveira rematch? Go ahead and run that back. Maybe we get that semi-early. in 2024. Islam didn't really take much damage. Charles just has to get cleaned up, let his cut heal, and maybe he can get back in there. That could be a January or February type conversation for sure. And then we'll go from there. But let me know if it's not Oliveira. Do you think Gaethje deserves the shot over Oliveira? Do you want Islam to just wait until December and see what happens between Colby and Leon? Let me know. I'd be super interested to hear your thoughts. And then for Volkanovski, again, if you have any thoughts on that, please feel free to share. But I think it's pretty clear what's next. 145 title defense, number, I don't know, 6 or 7 it would be at this point. Ilia Topuria, potentially January, maybe a little bit later, depending on how Volk feels. It was a big fight, big outcomes, big storylines. I wouldn't have expected anything less. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel so you never miss previews, recaps, breaking news, all the fun stuff in between that goes on in this crazy MMA game. And I will see you in the next one.